Larry North has been helping people become healthier for over 25 years. He's done this with 3 best-selling books, seminars, and gyms. These people were no different than you. The only difference is they chose to make a change in their life. Now it's your turn. Don't put it off any longer. Let Larry help you become an even better you. Here's Larry North.
Hey everyone, this is Larry North, and I'm your host on the Better You Show, and I'm excited to be live in studio. And so just a little quick background. I have written 3 books, Get Fit, Living Lean, Slim Down for Life, created in the 90s, the great North American Slim Down that had over 1.2 million people that learned how to lose weight and, more importantly, keep that weight off. So radio. In fact, I was watching the game with some friends of mine. I said, hey, I've got to go do my show, my Better You Show. And my buddy goes, oh, I didn't even realize you were still on the radio. Well, yes, I'm still on the radio, and I've been on the radio for 33 years and counting, and I love it. My other friend goes, do you ever get tired? You know, it's Sunday, we're watching the game. I go, no. I like the game. And by the way, if you're watching the game, the most amazing game in a long time, the Vikings just won. They got a touchdown with no time left on the clock. Crazy, but they did. So Minnesota won. Now I'm going to talk about what I wanted to talk about with you today. It's the second week in January, mid-January. And by the way, the resolutions, the commitments, the desire to lose weight and get in shape usually doesn't happen in week 1 or even week 2 of January. It's usually mid-January. And I remember years ago talking to one of my guru nutritionist, Keith Klein out of Houston, and he said, you know what's interesting? A lot of people will come into my office around January and they'll say, Keith, I know what to do, but I just don't do it. And his usual response is, no, you actually don't. And I would have to agree with him. Most people will say, oh, I know what to do, I just don't do it. And, well, really? Well, what do most people do when they want to lose weight? It's the same recipe book. It's the same playbook. It's the same thing year over year. Why would you even have to make more than one resolution to lose body fat, lose inches, and lose weight and get the body that you wanted when every year you do the same thing over and over again? So here's what most people, I mean, think about it. What would you do to lose weight? I mean, people do a lot of things. And with the fitness fad fraud, with the misinformation, with just sort of learned behavior, people tend to make a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes when it comes to losing weight. Now let's say, what do they do? Man, some people take laxatives. They starve themselves. They cut out entire categories of food. They over-exercise. They think, I'm just going to exercise. And if you haven't been working out regularly and you think that you're going to go push yourself with a no pain, no gain approach, how do you think that's actually going to work for you this time of year? It doesn't work, and it hasn't worked. So just repeating the same cycle over and over and over again typically isn't going to work. So the reality is sort of what people think they're supposed to do nutritionally is much different than what you should do nutritionally to lose body fat, to lose weight. And, recently, and if you follow me on Facebook, you know that I shared with you a before and after picture of my own from 10 years ago. And I didn't even, the picture happened to have popped up on Facebook, and I wanted to figure out how I could delete it permanently because I didn't like the photograph. Because at the time that photograph was taken, it's a little bit over 10 years. It was closer to 12 years. I personally had gone through a divorce. I had lost my flagship club in Highland Park. Then 2008, 2009, for a lot of people, it was a financial collapse. So it was just like the perfect storm. And what happens is when you're in a place that's not the best place, and I would probably say that having ridden this beautiful wave career-wise, and like a lot of people, we have these setbacks. And I had a few setbacks at that time, in spite of having some good things going on too, sort of a little bit of a roller coaster. But I was in a little bit of denial. I also had severe back problems, so much so that I think they were brought along as a result of stress. So I had the back problems, and I had to have a serious back surgery. And so between the back surgery just the stress of a divorce, the stress of losing my financial flagship club, which was an amazing club in the Highland Park Village, definitely a health club Hall of Fame type of club, and then losing additional funds through the stock market. And I didn't even realize it. I was in denial. My waist was, 38, 39, who knows? I didn't hop on a scale. I didn't want to do a measurement. I wore larger pants because I liked my pants to be comfortable. And I just didn't even know until I look at this photo from 10 years ago, and then I look at the photo from now that I recently just did because the South Lake Style magazine, it's sort of a really cool, hip, edgy magazine, called me up and they said, would you do our cover? I said, absolutely. And in the photo shoot, we're sort of goofing around, and I just lifted up my shirt and we did a little ab shot, and lo and behold, I get the photos back. I'm like, wow, I've got a clearly defined 6 to 8 pack. It's like it's in between a 6-pack and it's in between an 8-pack, and I'll be 57 in 4 weeks. So I looked at the two photos and I thought, wow, I'm also got an epic club in the Park Cities, my Larry North Fitness at Preston Center, and how things have changed in this amazing family, and just how in a little over a decade, things have changed dramatically. So here, the show host of 33 years of doing this radio and doing books and infomercials and motivation and trying to inspire as many people as I possibly can to lead a healthier life, is here I was. And I'd gained weight and I'd gained inches, and it led to me creating this amazing Blue Jean Challenge that I'm going to share with you in my show today. So what'll happen is I'll do Facebook Live now, and then after my Facebook Live at 18 after the hour, I'll just do straight KRLD radio. So if you are listening to me on my Facebook Live, certainly switch over and listen to me on KRLD. I'd love to have you. So that being said, what most people think they have to do is diet, is starve themselves, and that's not what you do. You actually, if you really want to get lean and really have, muscles and lose inches. For example, I'm buying 32-inch jeans as I approach 57, and by the time I'm going to say in about another 60 to 90 days, I'm going to fit in a 31-inch jean. But here's what's crazy. I'm still 225. I'll probably still be 225, because when you go embark on getting lean and losing unwanted body fat, the epitome is being able to maintain and keep lean muscle tissue, lean muscle mass. Listen, anybody can lose weight. Anyone can lose weight. But what you want to do is still maintain your lean muscle, lose inches, and be fit. So what do most people do when they want to lose weight, when they as it relates to exercise? Most of it's cardio. Run, walk, Group X classes that are cardio in nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, that may not be your best decision when it comes to getting the body of your dreams. In fact, truth be told, if you look at the best bodies, through your Instagram and Facebook, or even your local magazine at the supermarket, most of those bodies do one of two things. They lift some form of weights. They're doing, be it floor exercises, weight training, circuit training, CrossFit training, even in an Orange Theory type of environment. They're doing something to build their lean muscle tissue. The other thing that they're doing is using food in their favor to actually be able to get the body that they're striving for. And how they do that is they make sure that, if you're eating off a round plate. So I'm going to tell you what does the today's 2018, what does the muscle building, fat burning meal look like right now today? Because it's a little different. It's changed over the years. One, because we know more about food science. We know more about exercise science. We know more about how the metabolism actually works. So here's what that meal might look like. That morning meal, for a lot of people, it is sort of a protein drink. Meal number 2 might be some eggs, maybe some egg whites with some veggies and maybe some avocado. That's what that meal looks like. If you notice, there's not a real lot of starchy carb there. The second meal might be grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, a salad, and some more healthy fat. 3 to 4 hours from there, it might be some grilled fish with some grilled asparagus. Maybe it's a fish like a Chilean sea bass or a salmon that has some natural fat in it. So the biggest change in really just watching fat melt off your body is going to be lean proteins, healthy fats, and lots of vegetables. And so if you wanted to break it down, what's it look like? Is it a 40 to 45% protein, maybe 25 to 35% fat, and the remainder of carbs? People don't realize it. Even in that little protein bar that you might be eating, you got 25, 30 grams of carbohydrate. So before you know it, you're eating a lot of carbs. But now what I've done is I've always gone to higher sources. People that can read blood work, people that understand food science, people that understand exercise science. So currently, and for years, I've been going to a guy named Kevin Wilson from Smart Wellness Now. And when we test, we don't just test my weight. We don't just test my body fat with calipers. We determine my weight, my skeletal muscle, my lean muscle mass, my subcutaneous body fat, which is underneath the skin, and my visceral fat, which surrounds the organs. And then we do extensive blood work to see how are my vitamins, how are my B12s, how's my thyroid, am I hormonally optimal? Now, I'm not expecting everyone to go to the lengths that I do and several of his clients and others that use people like him as a resource. However, what's great is I can pass that information on to you. So my name is Larry North, and you're listening to my Facebook Live and a KRLD simulcast on KRLD 1080. It's live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out from my live simulcast and go into my radio version, and I will take calls at 214-787-1080 right after this on KRLD. Have a beautiful Sunday, everybody. Hey everyone, it's Larry North, and you're listening to the Better You Show. I've got a bunch of guests coming up in the upcoming weeks from Dr. Abdul Hay, who is a pain management doctor who's also experimenting with stem cells and doing lots of cool stuff to help people to prevent them from having to have unnecessary surgery. I'm also going to be discussing, I've got a great guest talking about laser therapy for orthopedic purposes, which I do use and I do believe in. And then I've got several really upper tier experts on hormonal optimization coming in. So stuff that I believe in and stuff that I really like doing. We all get setbacks, don't we? I mean, think about it. One of the things that I've learned over the last few years, especially, I'm just not a clothes person. I just don't buy a lot of clothes. I guess I probably ought to dress a little differently and a little more spiffier, but I don't. I'm a gym guy. Think about it. I wear workout clothes most of the time, or jeans and T-shirts, and occasionally a sport coat, but very rarely. And I will tell you, there's the best feeling that you could possibly have that's instantaneous is when you go on to try clothing that you haven't tried on in a while, let's say jeans, and you're having to get smaller sizes because the size that you thought you wore is just swimming on you. The flip side, there's very few feelings that feel worse than you go shopping for jeans and you're having to go up a size or two. and you're thinking, wait a minute, these can't be running correctly. These are wrong sizes. Usually they're not the wrong sizes. They're the right sizes. But we get in a little bit of denial. And so one of my goals this year is to help as many people, regardless of your age, regardless of your fitness level, is to be able to drop a pant size, a dress size, maybe more than that, maybe two. For some of you, maybe to fit in jeans that possibly you wore back when you were in college, or maybe some of you when you were in high school. That being said, Mike in Dallas, oh, you know what? I don't have a headset. I'm without a headset. So if Mike will stay on, they're going to get me a headset. I wasn't even expecting calls today, but Mike, you stay on because I'm going to take your call. And I wasn't even prepared for calls today because I just had a bunch of material that I wanted to talk about. And so you just hang in with me. 214-787-1080 is our telephone number. And I'll definitely take some calls. I'm going to have a headset in 2 seconds. And thank you so much. Hold on, you guys. I am okay. Mike, I can take your call. How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Yeah, sorry about that. You know, sometimes you come in studio, you wear your headsets mainly because you're going to take calls, and I didn't even know I'd get a call. So thank you for calling. How can I help you?
I was curious on the gut level. You mentioned having a 6 to 8 pack, and I've always been one to be physically active, doing a lot of jogging and swimming and such. And so I was kind of curious. At this time, I'm in a season where I've not been able to get out physically like I used to, and I've been trying to learn how to break down that gut that's been building up.
How old are you?
Roughly 50.
Yeah. You know what? Here's what's interesting. I'm leaner and more muscular as I approach 57 than I was in my 20s and 30s, and I competed in bodybuilding back then. It's 100% nutrition, and I would say as you're 50, it's also being hormonally optimal. I don't know how many people could actually, guys or women, could get really good defined abdominal muscles if they're not checking their hormone levels. So if someone's hormonally deficient, I almost don't care how clean they eat. I don't think that they could do it. Now, that being said, if you're hormonally optimal and you know how to eat in a way that's going to increase and encourage the growth of lean muscle while encouraging the loss of body fat, you're going to have it made. But you can't run it off. You can't exercise to the point that you're going to get abs. It's very hard to almost impossible to do that. How you do that is you make sure you maintain your lean muscle. Certainly doing abdominal exercises, the only time they play any role is if you get to a level of body fat that's lean enough to be able to expose those abdominal muscles. So, and here's the thing, and even if you eat healthy, so for example, I look like I'm in lower body fat than I am actually. If you were to do skin calipers on most areas of my body, I'm probably 8, 9, 10, 11% body fat, which if you're in your 50s, that's pretty lean. But there's visceral body fat. The visceral body fat, Mike, it surrounds your abdominal, or it's usually is in the abdominal area, and it surrounds your organs. So you have to also be able to lose that body fat too. So stay with me a little bit because I'm going to discuss and tell you exactly what your day would look like eating-wise when I come back, okay?
Okay. I seem to have a control over what I eat, but I'm still trying to deplete that fat system. So the hormonal thing is kind of new to me. So I'll go ahead and listen and hopefully learn some more.
I hope I can share it with you, and have a beautiful 2018, and thank you for calling me.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
All right, 214-787-1080 is the telephone number. Give us a call, and we'll be here, and we'll come back right after the news and updates and weather and traffic, okay? Larry North here on KRLD Radio. 33 years and going strong. I think I might stop doing radio after maybe 50 years. How cool would that be? To be 50 years live in the same market. It really, because it's maybe been 34 years. So, God, it's hard to figure out how long it's been. Wait a minute. I think it's been longer. I mean, I started a long time ago, and I started at a very young age. I was in my 20s. Did you say Danny? Is it Danny on line one? Danny, you're on with Larry North. How are you?
Hey, sorry about that. I accidentally hung up.
No worries.
Danny from Dallas.
Hey, Danny from Dallas. What's going on? Happy New Year to you.
Good, good. Is this Larry North?
This is him.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I saw you at Whole Foods a while ago, man. Congratulations on your improvement on your body shape. But I like to add that. But you were complimenting me, man, on my my lean body. I was like, "Are you Larry North?" And you were like, "Yeah." You were kind of quiet, but I just want to share something with you. First, thanks for contributing to everybody. You know, to everybody losing weight, because I think having a great body and is more about your mind and having a positive attitude. That's what I thought. And are we on air?
Yeah, no, we're on air. I'm listening to you. It's interesting because I wrote my notes before the show, and I actually was going to do a segment on the power of words. How it's so important to say the right things, because words are powerful. When people start saying negative things about their body, or that they can't do it, or they don't have inspiration, they don't have the motivation, they don't have the time, and it really sets them back. But and you know what? Can I tell you if I think I remember you? Were you at the Whole Foods in Plano?
I was at the Whole Foods off Beltline.
Beltline, okay. Addison, okay. I go to both of those.
We were mixing some dark chocolate with some cinnamon. I was with my sister.
Gotcha.
And I think dark chocolate is that magnesium, which helps, I guess, the transfer of. She was educating me. She's a biochemist. She's like, "Man, don't buy that dark chocolate. I'm gonna show you how to do it. You would put cocoa and cinnamon. I don't know what she did, and honey." And she was trying to. And you were like, "What are you doing there?" And I'm sitting there eating like a brownie or a cookie. And then you said something like, "I'd like to compliment you. God bless you for eating a cookie, man."
Oh, very good. Well, listen, your bad food choices are part of a good food choice program, man. Can't eat super clean all the time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to your show that I got excited about you saying hormonal balance and all this stuff, because that really does make a difference. And I'm one of those ex-football players that basically I can get out of shape, but I have a mindset and I have standards in my head where I'm like, this is where I need to be. And I'm very stubborn, so I might not see change in a month, but I have a stick-with-it attitude. That's what I want to share with your audience. And if it doesn't work, sometimes changing one little tweak on your body, it will help you. And all of a sudden you reach your goal when you just, it kind of surprises you. Like, wow, you take off your shirt, you're like, wow, I just did really well. It's been 3 months, but you don't remember. You don't really see that.
Well, you're right. Let me jump in if I may, Danny. So what people don't realize is if you're really going to lose pure body fat without losing water and lean muscle, you're probably, if you're very diligent, in other words, you don't cheat weekly, but you maybe cheat once a month or sparingly, and you make sure you get all the nutrients your body requires and you don't miss workouts, you're probably looking at about 2 to 3 pounds a month. And that's why over a 6-7 month period is when people can go to a amazing transformation. Now, people that are overweight don't want to hear that. They're like, I want to lose weight faster. I get that. Yeah. But the truth is then, so let's look at it weekly. You might lose ounces, maybe a pound if you're just doing like incredibly well. It doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when you go through a 2 or 3, like you said, 3 months of dropping 9 pounds of body fat, that will change anybody's appearance.
Yeah, I so agree with you that the gradual is the best. Because here's the thing, I don't think people should, I don't know, my personal opinion, they shouldn't even get on the weight scale. Where you were saying before, you have a 31-inch waistline and you're 225.
Well,
I know
it's actually,
right away.
it's actually 32 now, but I'm striving for 31.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, like that rapid weight loss, it's impossible to not lose lean muscle. When you lose lean muscle, your body loses its ability to burn fat efficiently. It's called game over. You're done. The rebound effect of when you do make those, you start eating those same foods you've tried to avoid, and you eat them in larger quantities, because there's no way you can sustain that starvation mode that caused you to lose weight. And listen to this, Danny. A lot of people, let's say someone's 250 pounds and they really starve themselves, and they're not doing it the right way. They're doing it the wrong way, but that causes sort of a rapid weight loss. Did you know this? They could actually lose 30, 40, or even 50 pounds, but be a higher percentage of body fat at 200 than they were at 250 because they lost lean muscle tissue in the process of their starvation mode. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just walking around zombified and you can't function and you feel lightheaded all day long, it's not really. I don't know if that's going to be conducive to.
Well, several things here. One, thank you so much for actually listening to this show after we had a chance to just talk in passing. And if I seem quiet or subdued at Whole Foods, usually it's because I've just got a lot on my mind. But I like to let people know that I see, such as you, that, man, when you're doing something and you look great as you did, it's inspiring, not just to me, but to other people. Thank you. I want you to have a beautiful night, okay?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you for your show.
Thank you. Larry North here, 214-787-1080. Take a call if you want to call in right after this.
Hope you're having a good weekend. Hi, this is Mike Rogers with Amanda Guerra and Scott Sams. Monday on the KRLD Morning News. We'll remember the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And how would you like to work for Amazon? We'll tell you about a job fair here in North Texas.
Plus, the largest traffic team will update you every 10 minutes with traffic and weather together on the 8s. Join us Monday. We start at 5 a.m. on News Radio 1080 KRLD.
You guys, I said 33, 34 years on radio. I'll be 57 in less than 4 weeks. And also this April's my 29th year in business. And I've been bombarded with competition all over the place. They're trying to outflank me. But you know what? There's something special about Larry North Fitness. Our gyms are immaculate. They're well equipped. Most importantly, it's how I treat people. I treat people really well. I treat my staff really well, and they know that. And I love them. And I love my members. And my staff treats my members well. And my members are the most amazing. It doesn't matter which club it is, whether it's in Uptown, whether it's the Park Cities Club at Preston Center, or whether it's out in Westlake or even Fort Worth. And you just go to my website. And here's the thing. I'm rolling out a program in partnership with the American Diabetes Association called the Blue Jean Challenge. I just want people to wear smaller jeans. I just want you to know what it's like to go back into jeans that you wore a few years back, or for some of you maybe decades ago, because it's possible. If I can do it, I trust me that you can do it. And all you do is you just get started. And here's the beautiful part. As you drop those jean sizes, you can bring those old jeans in. I'm going to give you cash for them. I'm going to let you put that towards personal training, a membership for dues. And then in turn, I'm going to donate those old jeans that you don't wear anymore to my SM Wright Foundation and the First People's Baptist Church in Fair Park, because that's my bro. I've been on their board of directors for a long time. So go to LarryNorth.com. If you just forget the number, it's so easy. It's 52 North, 214-52 North. You can even enroll online, but I want you this year to be a part of my organization, a part of my family, a part of Larry North Fitness. For years, people thought I was older than I was because they had heard me on the radio for so long. And now I'm as old as they thought I was because I've been on for so long. And I ain't going anywhere. They have to freaking pry my fingers from the front door and call security. It'll take more than one of them to get me off radio because I just love doing it. So we had a caller call in, and she's like, listen, I remember hearing you in 81, 82, no later than 84. It's really a great story how I got on the radio. I'm in my 20s. I mean, listen, we were all millennials at one time because we were all in our 20s. 20s. And I had this brainchild that I knew that I could do radio. And I walked into, at the time, the #1 talk station, if not in Dallas, maybe in the United States. Never took a communications course. I took some speech courses and voice and articulation courses to get rid of my thick New York accent. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I told the program director, who's sort of very well known in talk radio circles today, and I don't even know how I got an appointment with the guy, but that's who I was. That's how I was. I just made it happen. The power of visualization. I was telling people I was going to get my own radio show before I ever even knew about talk radio, and I put that in my mind, and then I went in and I asked to talk to who's the boss here, and they gave me 3 minutes with the boss. He says, listen, I'm busy, I got to go. And I told him my idea. He goes, what are you going to do, exercise people through the radio? No, I'm going to have a team of experts that are going to come on my show, and I'm going to inspire people. I'm going to tell them the right foods to use to get the body that they've always wanted, and then it's just going to work, and I'm going to take their questions and I'm going to help them. And he's like, he goes, I had that idea a few months back, and I tried to reach out to some medical professionals, and they all turned me down. So he let me be a guest on what was a very popular right-wing conservative talk show host show, the David Gold Show. So some of you that are my age or old will remember David Gold. So I'm a guest on David Gold's show, and I'm only in my 20s. I've never been on radio before, and boom, the phone lines light up, and I'm taking questions, and I have to tell you this. I was natural at it, because I loved it. I loved it. And my interaction with David Gold was spot on. And I didn't know if I did a good job or not, but I do remember coming home, and the girl I was dating at the time had a bottle of champagne and 24 roses waiting at the door for me. So I figured I must have done a good job. But then I thought, well, maybe she bought that ahead of time. So then a week later, I get a phone call from that same guy that gave me that chance to be on that show. He said, listen, man, I've got good news and I've got not as good news. He goes, I'm going to give you your own show. That's the good news. The not so good news is it's 7 a.m. on Sunday mornings. So listen, I didn't care. Just a thought to be on the radio. Well, it only took a few months, and I was actually moved in my time slot from 10 to 12 on Saturdays. Then it was 10 to 12 on Saturday and Sundays. Then, believe it or not, there's a very popular sports radio show that started out of my gym, and out of reciprocity, they offered me a gig. So I'm doing 2 hours there, and that's when I switched to KRLD. So I'm 2 hours on the sports radio. I got 1 hour to drive all the way to Arlington to do 2 hours on KRLD, which KRLD is like a mega station. I mean, it's the creme de la creme of AM. And so I'm doing 4 hours in a 5 hour period for many, many, many years, you guys. But here's the best part. As a result of being on the radio for so long, I will guarantee, I will promise you that there are not just hundreds, probably thousands, but let's just say hundreds of people that have learned how to lose weight. And more importantly, those same people have kept it off for many, many, many years. Some even now heading into 20 plus years. And the reason, hey, have you ever heard of Kenny's Grill? You ever heard of Kenny's Grill in Addison? Very popular. It's a top 10 restaurant in a lot of people's list in Addison. I go in there, listen to this. I go in and a waitress taps me on the shoulder. And she says, you're Larry North. I said, yeah. She goes, I've been doing your program since the 90s. I ordered it off television, to tell you the truth. I go, are you from Dallas? She goes, no, I'm not. I'm actually from South Carolina. And here's what she says. She goes, here's the thing. Everyone in my family is overweight. We're talking morbidly obese. We're Southern. We eat Southern food. We grew up on it. But I've lost about 90 pounds, and I've kept it off for 20 years. She goes, but you see that girl over there, the hostess? That's my 21-year-old daughter. She works here. And the girl is like beautiful, like this beautiful hostess. She goes, my children never were overweight because from the time they were born, I was teaching them and showing them how to eat correctly, unlike the learned behavior I had from my ancestors. So like, that's like a beautiful story because, and then she says, come over here. I want you to meet my daughter. And like, we're in the restaurant's packed and I'm just getting some food to go. Yes. Healthy, clean food to go. And the daughter goes, my gosh, you're that guy that my mother's been talking about for decades because you didn't just change my mom's life, you changed our whole family's life. So anyways, and radio's been the precursor for that. So it's a pretty cool story. So when we come back, I promised that I was going to lay out, what does your meal program look like if you wanted to go to that next extreme level and just shed body fat off your body while maintaining your lean muscle? And I'll do that right after this. Larry North here to wrap up my show. It's been a pleasure. I've got Dean Lindsay, who wrote the book Big Fat Goals, PHAT, is going to be my guest in a couple weeks. Really looking forward to having this guy on. He's from Plano, but he's making a big name as a motivational speaker on business goals. I've got Dr. Hay coming in to talk about pain management. It's going to be a great year. But real quickly, so what did my 90s muscle building fat burning meal look like? And by the way, extremely effective. Now you got to take into consideration, what do most people eat? And most people skip breakfast. Maybe it's a pastry at Starbucks. Maybe it's a 600-calorie latte. Maybe it's just coffee. Maybe it's nothing. Lunch is potluck. I mean, people will eat a variety of things that aren't really good for them. And then dinner, it just depends. I mean, what place you're at, is it a bowl of cereal with milk? Are you eating just a bowl of oatmeal in the morning thinking that's something good for yourself? Is it just a couple of eggs thinking that that's enough? And I mean, you could just look at the way people shop, look at the way people eat, and just look at people in general tend to struggle with weight control issues. But that 90s meal was similar to the 2018 meal, but it's got a little bit, there's a little changes in it. But the principle is still there. There's no need to eat sugary processed foods. No reason to eat sugary beverages. Minimize alcohol. Reduce dairy for the most part, with the exception of maybe certain cheese and yogurt if you like that. Now, having said that 90s meal, that 90s sports nutrition, muscle building, fat burning meal, you ate it off a round plate. You might have had, let's say, 5. This is for guys. So women, just cut it in half. So a 250-pound man, this is what your meal would have looked like. And a 125-pound woman, this is what your meal would have looked like. Just cut it in half. So 5 to 6 ounces of, let's say, grilled chicken. 1 cup of your favorite steamed or cooked veggies with seasonings, of course. And a cup of, let's say, brown rice, or a cup of potatoes, or a cup of sweet potatoes. And that's it. And it was relatively low in fat, although you would still include a tablespoon of the good healthy oil in 1 or 2 of those meals, maybe 3 of those meals. Now, what's changed? It's pretty much the same meal. The protein's the same, the veggies increased, and now I'm going to increase a little bit more healthier fat, and I'm going to also have, I'm going to eliminate the starchy carb. Now, a lot of things are happening to my body as a result of this approach, and it'll happen to yours too. The inflammation's just disappearing from my body because of no starchy carbs and minimal sugar. Now, what does that morning meal look like? That morning meal used to look like, and by the way, if you ate like this, you would get lean. You'd see great results if you had an egg white omelet and a cup and a half of still cut oatmeal with a little bit of seasoning and spices and maybe a little bit of flavor enhancers. That's a good meal. You'd get lean eating that meal, but that's not what my meal looks like now. My today get lean, muscle building, fat burning meal looks a little differently. And so it's right now at this moment, it's 5-6 ounces of sliced grilled turkey, and I get that at Deli News, I get that at Crossroads, and get that anywhere basically, with 2 poached eggs. Usually I like a medium to medium well, a half to a third of an avocado, just depends, and usually I get some steamed vegetables with some seasonings on it. And I love this meal, and that's my muscle building, fat burning meal in today's world, in today's science. So it works, and it works really, really well. The other difference is not cheating as frequently. I think we get hung up on the cheat meal, and it turns into more cheats than we really want to admit. It's a cheat on Friday because the weekend's here, and it's a burger and fries. No big deal because you're still eating good and healthy meals and not eating a bunch of sugary beverages. But Saturday, it's cheat, and let's have a pizza, and you're still eating good meals in between that. But then, it's dessert. It's once a week. It's only once a week. And let me tell you, that would work for most people, but it wasn't working for me as I'm approaching late 50s. What it required me to do was cheat more like every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, and just have something delicious once, not a series of cheats over a 1 or 2 or 3 day period. Makes a huge difference, and it'll make a huge difference for you. And it takes a little bit of discipline, but think like this. You tend to crave what you're eating most. If you're eating a bunch of fast food, a lot of white floury products, a lot of carbs in general, you're going to crave a lot of carbs and a lot of fast food. If you're eating a lot of veggies and protein, guess what? You're going to crave a lot of veggies and protein. That's how this works. So the healthier you eat, the cleaner you eat, the less processed foods you eat, the less sugary beverages you consume, the more you're going to crave the very same foods that you're eating. Here's what happens also. When you do eat that cheat meal less frequently,